supposed to be an equal partnership, why does a woman get an expensive engagement ring but a man doesn't?
Wow. So this is what conversations about equality have come to. This is what we're focusing the conversation on. This is what we want to talk about? Okay, let me answer this question. What a woman gets in a ring, a man might make up for in other areas, such as owning a more expensive car. And this differs from relationship to relationship. If my future partner also wanted an expensive engagement ring, I would be more than happy to buy it for him. But why are we talking about this? Why don't I ask you a question instead? Questions that really matter, by the way. Why does violence against women cost taxpayers and the government of Canada billions of dollars every year? 7.4 billion to be exact. Why did it take the United States of America 232 years to elect the first female vice president? Why is that? Why don't we talk about that?
Yo, what is going on, guys? It is Taylor the Fiend back again with another response video. And you know, guys, I always laugh when I hear people come out here and say that marriages are equal or that men benefit from getting married. The girl at the beginning of today's video said, hey, if you get married, you'll have a car, or I'll buy him the engagement ring, okay? They try and pitch it as though it's some sort of good thing for men to go out here and get married. But guys, check out this article that we have here, okay? 70% of divorces are initiated by women due to various, look at this, various mismatches. But is there more to the story? So firstly, right off the bat, guys, is that women end, I'm pretty sure it's actually more than 70% of divorces, okay? And the idea that men go through a divorce and they don't lose anything is absolute, it's fallacy. It's a complete and utter fallacy, guys. Like, there's a reason why, okay, so many men are not getting married these days. There's a reason why lots of dudes are opting out of relationships, or they're not hitting up girls, or, you know, withdrawing their attention. And it's because these things do not benefit men at all. So we have this article here, guys. You know, it's a 4-minute read written by a woman named Gina Florio, because I always imagine like some middle-aged woman sitting down and she's like, oh man, this 4 minutes is very critical to my life, even though it means she's got nothing to do the entire damn day. But we have this article here, guys, okay? And we're going to be taking a look at some of the various mismatches, okay? In other words, what are some of the bullcrap reasons why women decide to divorce their husbands and take him for his possessions? Because again, guys, going back to the car thing at the beginning of today's video, okay, it's like, yeah, you guys might be able to pool a little bit of resources together, like you might be able to get a nicer car, sure, but guess what? When the divorce happens, it's her car. Okay, when the divorce happens, it's her kids. When the divorce happens, it's her house. What exactly is the point? And I've heard other people cite things like, you know, oh, men are more likely to be a little bit more healthier and live longer when they're husbands. It's like, yeah, it's almost as if the women lock down the dudes who are workhorses, who, you know, who have been working their entire lives, who are perhaps a little bit healthier than the bad boy that they used to meet out at town. It's like these things don't communicate that marriage is a better idea for men, but whatever. Let's jump into this article here, written from Evie. And then, guys, we have a bit of a Reddit story. And guys, the fantastic thing about Reddit stories, particularly as they pertain to relationships, is they show dudes who are going through these situations. So it's a lot more real life scenario as to why you shouldn't go through these things yourself. But of course, guys, the women are not happy that a lot of men are opting out of this. So let's jump into this article here. It says, research shows that women are much more likely to initiate divorce from their husbands than the other way around. There are a lot of factors to consider, though. Okay, and guys, this also extends to relationships, by the way. Okay, women are the sexual selectors of the species. When I hear women complain that all of the men that they've dated are trash, I don't feel any sympathy. You know why? Because they chose them. Okay, women are the ones who, oh, I find it funny when relationships end, guys, and you'll hear a lot of girls say, you know, I finally just snapped. I realized I was worth more. But truth be told, the reason why they're saying that is so they have justification to monkey branch the next dude. It's absolutely disgusting. So let's continue. Marriage isn't exactly popular, you're damn right. thing to aspire to towards in today's society. We're almost discouraged from settling down, getting married, and focusing primarily on our family. That, of course, has resulted in marriage not being valued as much as it used to be, even though it's the bedrock of any healthy society. This naturally means that divorce is going to be widely accepted across the nation, which is why the divorce rate remains very high. So let's talk about a couple things here, guys, right? Number one, yes, we are discouraged from focusing on family. We hear this crap, guys, of like, you know, you can go out there, you can do whatever you want, you can be a boss babe, you can be a queen, and don't worry, I don't know, you can like freeze your eggs and crap, okay, you can turn around when you're 32 years of age and hey, that's the prime time to look for a family. No, it's not. Okay, you could have had your husband, your white picket fence many years ago, but girls are, you know, choosing and being told also by their friends, by society, to leave these things until much later on, which of course is not a good idea. This is why a lot of girls will complain and say like, oh, where have all the good men gone? But the truth of the matter is she's 30 years of age and the good men have always been there, but now her options have diminished. This says 70% of divorces are initiated by women due to various mismatches, but is there more to the story? Women are much more likely to file for divorce than their husbands are. In fact, a study from the American Sociological Association determined that roughly 70% of divorces are initiated by the wife. I'm surprised. I've heard higher statistics than this. If anyone in the comments wants to drop what they've come across as the correct statistic, because last I heard it was actually above 70% of divorces are initiated by the wife, which, by the way, guys, let's cut the bullcrap here. Women are incentivized to destroy families and marriages, okay? The reason why it's so high is because, number one, they can, but number two, they actually stand to benefit from it in a lot of cases. This has led to many people questioning why it is that so many women are unhappy in marriage, despite the generation-long stereotype that women are the ones who often hold the marriage together. Sorry, guys, I'm holding in my laughter there. Psychology Today shared that 1 million American women divorced in 2019. Think of all the broken families this has caused right here. All the dudes paying child support, all the dudes paying their ex-wives who don't deserve it. Look at this, 1 million. In 2019 alone. And even though divorce is more costly for women than it is men, source please, they are still the ones more likely to file for divorce as well as report higher satisfaction after the divorce has been finalized. Let's have a look. The publication also suggests that mismatches are the main reason for divorce, especially mismatches in areas of caregiving, interdependence, and mate preference. This comes from a paper, Current Opinion in Psychology. All right, guys, so let's look at these incredibly vague terms here, right, of caregiving, interdependence, and mate preference. Notice how these things are all incredibly vague. Like, what does this mean? Caregiving, so she's not receiving enough attention, he doesn't care about her enough. Why did you marry a guy that didn't care about you? Right? Interdependence, is the guy not independent enough? You want to have your own, like, these things raise so many questions that, like, why we're just divorcing dudes for vague reasons that make no sense. And if you're divorcing a dude because of mate preference, isn't this code for just you want to see other men? You see what I'm saying, guys? You see what I'm saying? Women are biologically wired to find... Wait, actually, let's go back to this point here before we continue as well, by the way, guys, because this was laughable. Look at this. Psychology Today shared that 1 million American women divorced in 2019, and even though divorce is more costly for women than it is men, can someone please give me a source on that? Because as far as I can see, men are the ones actually losing everything. Like, yeah, there might be cases here and there where the women are, you know, having to cover the cost for the man. But typically when women get married, they're not marrying dudes who are financially less well off than them. Okay, the dudes are often the ones when ran through the court who end up having to pay for these things, who end up having to pay for the women, the children that they never see, etc. It says here, women are biologically wired to find a good man with good genes. Find a man with good genes, excuse me, who is good-looking, physically strong, and fertile. The paper suggests that these genetically superior men are more interested in short-term relationships and tend to be poor, long-term husbands, partly because they are a hot commodity and find it difficult to stay monogamous to one woman. You know, I'll actually add something else on top of this. So that's mostly right. Okay, the dudes at the top, they have no reason to commit to one woman at all because they have all of the options. So if you have like so many women vying for your attention, these men have no incentive to commit, especially if they understand that committing in a lot of these situations is dangerous to whatever it is that they're built in their life. But I would also add on top of this that the women can't lock them down anyway. You see what I'm saying? Like, yeah, the dude might not want to stay monogamous, but another point to make here is that women have no idea really what men find attractive. Like, a lot of these girls seem to think that they can keep a man around because, you know, they apply makeup the right way, okay? Or they have bedroom fun the correct way. Like, nowhere, guys. It's really funny. I've actually seen some, like, female dating, like, strategy. Not the website, but I've seen some female dating gurus or whatever the hell you want to call them, okay? And they'll get on there and they'll tell women how to have relationships. And a lot of it is like, okay, here's how to manipulate your man, or here's how to look really good. Nowhere in their videos do I see things like respect the guy, treat him nicely, learn to cook or something like that, because Lord forbid you encourage like any sort of caregiving towards men in 2022. It's really quite insane, guys. Like, a lot of these women, even if they can get the dude, they have no idea how to keep him around. So, like, it's absolutely crazy. Like, if there's 20 women competing for one man, by the way, it wouldn't really be that difficult to be woman number one, because a lot of girls have no idea what men are looking for. A lot of them are loud, obnoxious, they start fights over nothing, they introduce headaches, they cause problems, and for a lot of guys, you know, just being by yourself is a lot more beneficial. Let's continue with the article here. It says, there are also mismatch issues. Wait, no. Excuse me. Hot commodity, blah, blah, blah. Another potential mismatch is financial resources. Interesting. So if there are financial troubles at home and the husband isn't able to provide for whatever reason, the wife could be more inclined to end the marriage. Wait a minute. I was under the assumption, guys, that this was, you know, the year 2022. We had equality, okay? Why can't women be the one paying the bills? Why can't women be the ones who are supporting the financial troubles at home? Why does it have to be the men? You know, guys, notice how this like whole equality thing immediately disappears when men, like when problems come in, when there's financial troubles, okay, when there's you know, international troubles, shall we say, all the women get out just fine. The men are expected to stay behind. The men are expected to pay the bills. It's absolutely amazing to me, guys, how like women will get into a marriage with a dude. He'll go through financial troubles, or he'll go through perhaps some health troubles, and she'll just opt to up and leave. Right? No more thick and thin. No more sticking it out. It's oh, you can't financially provide, I'm out of here. And they wonder why dudes won't marry them. That's crazy. Whatever the case may be. There are also mismatch issues such as caregiving and interdependence, meaning the wife struggles to manage childcare, housework, and working outside the home all at once, while the husband isn't expected to deal with the first two issues. You know, in a lot of situations, guys, like, I'll hear this, okay? Girls will say, man, it's so hard to manage the kids and the housework and stuff like this. A lot of these girls who are complaining about this are, number one, stay-at-home mothers. Like, yes, you have to stay at home and be a mother while your husband provides, right? And also, guys, like in the year 2022, by the way, women fought for the ability to do it all, right? You can go out there, you can work your job, okay? But guess what? We have now doubled, okay, the workforce. Women can go out there and work, but guess what that means? You're half the cost of labor. Now, all of a sudden, you need two people to provide for, you know, you have to have two incomes coming into the house in a lot of situations in order to provide, just because bills are so ridiculous right now. I mean, we all know house prices and things like these, okay? There used to be a time back in history where a man would work and it would, you know, be able to pay for the family and their houses and things like this. But girls can go out here and work too now. So companies are basically going, you know what, we can pay less for labor, and all of a sudden you need two incomes to manage a household. This is what the women fought for, guys. You didn't want to stay at home. You didn't want to be mothers. That's totally cool. And now we're complaining when we have to work at the same time. And also, by the way, when a lot of these girls go out here and select husbands, they're not always also working while they're looking after the kids. Okay, typically in a lot of situations, the dude is working, the woman is not working, or even if they're both working, they pay for childcare, so she's not even looking after the kids anyway. Like, yeah, she might pick them up, but like all this argument right here, guys, is really quite hilarious to me, because it's not that difficult to keep the house clean and look after children while the husband goes out there and works. It really absolutely isn't. Let's keep going. Whatever the case may be, the reason for many divorces is that the woman reports being unhappy or unfulfilled in the marriage. This has led many people to point out that the idea of men leaving the home and being an absent husband or father is nothing more than a myth. Twitter user at World War Wang says men are walking out is a myth and a blood level. 80% of divorces are initiated by women, with the majority of divorces that are initiated by men, they are usually bullied into it. The real number is 95% plus. Yeah, see, I would be skeptical as to whether or not 70% of the divorces are initiated by women. It's probably a lot more than that. And even in the cases where the dudes end up divorcing, you know, they typically are bullied into it and things like these. Hilarious stuff here, guys. Hilarious stuff. But look at this, okay? If you are unhappy or unfulfilled in a marriage, wouldn't you know this before you get married, by the way? But that's the problem. Girls will go in there, right? And then later on, they'll be like, you know what? I'm unhappy, unfulfilled. Time to undo all of our vows. Time to up and leave. Time to charge him. Time to get him to pay me money and treat him as an extra income source. Okay? I find it interesting how women will enter into marriages knowing that they don't like certain things about their man, that they feel unhappy or unfulfilled, and then like 10 years down the track, 5 years, 3 years, who the hell cares? They use this as justification for leaving the relationship that they had already mentally checked out of from the very beginning. It's absolutely insane to me. But let's continue, and then we'll wrap up today's episode. So we have a tweet here from Andrew, who says, men walking out is a myth. 80% of divorces are initiated by women. With the minority of divorces that are initiated by men, they are usually bullied into it. The real number is 95% plus. The most common reason is they are quote-unquote not happy. Which, by the way, guys, again, surely you know, right? Surely you would know if you weren't happy with the relationship before you get into the marriage. But of course not. But some women have chimed in to share their own experiences and add some color to the statistics. Many women report that they file for divorce because their husband has cheated on them. For example, relationship coach, such and such. I can't speak to every situation, obviously, but when my ex was having an affair and left to live with his lover, I was the one who initiated the divorce. Have you ever noticed, guys, how whenever you say something like this, or like a lot of people will pipe up and be like, yeah, but in my one particular very niche scenario, it was different. It's like, okay, first of all, nobody asked. Second of all, doesn't change anything, right? So the woman here saying, well, I was cheated on. She also added that she was unhappy when she filed for divorce, which had nothing to do with mismatches and everything to do with her husband's infidelity. Layla herself notes that she is just sharing her own personal story, but other women chimed in to say that they've been through similar situations. It begs the question of whether the majority of these women filing for divorce are just ending the marriage because they're unhappy or because the husband has done something unforgivable that has left them unhappy, among other things, such as an A word or the A word. Guys, let me ask you this, okay? Going back through your relationships in your life, can you think of women who have come out here and said, man, my ex-boyfriend, he was so terrible, he was awful, right? And then later on, you become that quote-unquote awful or terrible guy, even though you did nothing wrong at all, and you always tried to make her happy. I wonder how many of you guys have that experience. Let me know down in the comments before we wrap up today's episode, guys. Have you ever been with a woman who has said that all of her relationships were terrible, she's been cheated on, she's been treated terribly, and, you know, you console her, you treat her well, you try to treat her different, and by the end of your relationship, apparently, you become the villain and you become all of those things, even though you tried to treat her right the entire damn time. See, we can play this whole, you know, well, oh, in this situation it's different all damn day, guys, but the fact of the matter is women are not getting rings anymore these days, and the men are not interested anymore. Guys, we are going to be leaving today's episode there. Remember to leave your thoughts and your comments, guys. If you have any personal experiences or you disagree with anything that I've said on today's episode, feel free to leave them in the comments section below. It's always interesting to read what you guys have to say. That is what the comments box is for. And as always, guys, make sure that you take care of yourselves, and I'll be seeing you all in the next episode. Peace.